I'm bored, let's watch Ryan Kinel. You know what, fam? These guys are just liars. They're just liars. I don't have any other way to put it. They're either extremely incompetent, which is possible, I guess, or they're just flat out liars. Here we have Ryan Kinel making this video. He's not the only one that's made a video about this, but I just decided to watch his video. Star Trek Starfleet Academy panics and deletes episode after massive backlash. It just gets worse. So before we watch this, quickly, yes, Paramount Plus promoted the first episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy on their YouTube channel. And they do this with other things, and they also remove other things, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. But let's see what he has to say in his video, because everything to them is some sort of conspiracy theory or outrage or whatever, which is why I mock them and make fun of them in my video titles and thumbnails, because it's just too easy. So let's hear what he has to say. I can guarantee it's going to be a lie. Let's jump into it.
The reception to the newest Star Trek show on Paramount Plus, Starfleet Academy, has been absolutely abysmal. Despite some people in the media's efforts to try to prop this show up as just so incredible, a great next step for Star Trek, the truth is it's been completely and totally rejected by the audience because...
Right, because YouTube is the only metric. YouTube is the only way people watch Starfleet Academy. So we're looking at YouTube, and this is the only metric we have, the only bar that we have to determine whether or not the show is doing well, is a YouTube video. It's so disingenuous, it's so slimy, it's so low IQ.
Quite frankly, this is not Star Trek, and it's not for Star Trek fans. It's for the modern audience. And just
which also I want to point out, and I've said this before in many other videos, any sort of online poll can be manipulated. They can all be manipulated, which is why I typically don't discuss them unless there's a shared metric across the board with them. Because that's just the only way you can even take them for what they are, is if you look at them and you go, oh, well, these numbers are kind of similar, so it's probably accurate. None of these metrics matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that the studios care about is whether or not it is making money for them. So even if this thing had like 1 out of 5 stars or a 1 out of 10, as long as the numbers are good in their subscriptions or however it is they're determining their value on the show, as long as that matters, none of these polls make any difference. Which is when you're arguing your own personal opinion on the quality of something and you're using a poll to determine that, got issues.
Just like so many franchises and IPs that we've seen over the last several decades in Hollywood, when people get their hands on it and want to cater to a new audience, not those old fans who used to like this stuff.
Right, because if we were catering to just the old fans, like what do you consider the old fans of Star Trek? Are we talking just the original series? Because if we're talking just the original series, most of those people are coming up at the end stages of living, if we're just talking about the original series. Like, if you're only catering to that audience, we would have never had The Next Generation. We would have never had Deep Space Nine. We never would have had Voyager. We never would have had anything else. It would have been just the original series. And I don't mind the original series. To be quite honest, I think it's one of the worst of all the older Star Trek shows. It was even canceled. The original series was canceled. Now, if I'm looking back at the OG team, the OG crew of Star Trek, the Enterprise, I always think about the movies. The movies for me were the ones that felt the most well done. The episodes of TV, and this might be blasphemy, I don't give a fuck, I didn't really resonate with those. Like, I thought they were very, it was watching a play. The special effects weren't very good. They tried to redo that a few years ago and make them a little bit better and a little bit more watchable for people. But if your argument is that they're not catering to the OG Star Trek fans, then that would be just the original series. Because there's a big gap of time, decades of time, between the original series and The Next Generation. And if you want to really talk about it, we could talk about the fact there was an argument about whether or not The Next Generation and Voyager and Deep Space Nine were true Trek shows. There was an argument about that as well. So this entire concept that Star Trek cannot be made updated for new viewers is brain rot. It's disingenuous brain rot from these guys. And if you like the original series, fantastic. I love it. I love that for you. Not for me. My first introduction into Star Trek was Next Generation. That was the first one I ever watched. And then I went back and watched the movies as a kid for the OG cast. So that was my first introduction. I've been watching it since the Next Generation. And I'm not ashamed to say that. That's when I got introduced to it. And I can guarantee most of the people like Ryan and other people in this group got introduced to either the movies from the OG crew or the Next Generation. Some of them might have even watched stuff later on in the 90s. So this entire plea to like nostalgia and fidelity, it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
We need the modern audience. We need to change something about this franchise. We see the way this happens every single time, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Doctor Who. You can list a lot of different franchises that have been absolutely destroyed by modern Hollywood.
And you can list a bunch of them that have not. Like, even if I were to agree with you that some of the more modern versions of Star Wars and Star Trek have been bad, I could look around and probably pick out some stuff that has been updated that's absolutely fantastic. Like, we could play this game all day. We could go back and forth about this all day. I mean, look at X-Men 97. X-Men 97 is it's an animated TV show that is based off of the 90s X-Men cartoon that has been updated and modernized, and it's still incredible. So you can't use this argument that if something gets updated for a modern audience, it automatically equals that it's going to be bad. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold up. It's not an argument.
When people who think there's something wrong with the franchise get control of it. And that's what has happened to Star Trek. Now, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, just when you think it can't possibly get any worse, when it's drowning in negative reviews, when it's absolutely bombing on a street.
There's also a ton of positive reviews, so that doesn't matter. Again, these kinds of arguments don't really hold up. They don't have any sort of substance behind them. He's simply arguing on behalf of feelings, how people feel about something. A subjective argument used in an objective way. And it's not one for one. Like, I like Starfleet Academy. I like a lot of the more modern Star Trek shows. So if we're sitting here arguing about taste level, then we're just arguing from a point of subjectivity about our own opinion. And I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion. If you don't like the newer shows, don't watch them. It's really that simple. I think when you get fixated on something like what these guys are doing, it is unhealthy. Go and find something else that you like and then engage in that. It will make your life so much better if you do that. But instead, people that do like the current Star Trek, we have to get bombarded with shit like this. People are like, well, Eric, why do you even pay attention to these guys? Because you can't get away from it. They're like loud, angry cockroaches. They're just everywhere. Like, if I log into YouTube and I type in Star Trek Starfleet Academy, YouTube pushes the negative content to the top of the searches. You're going to get a mix of promo stuff and negative content. If you go incognito, it's going to happen because YouTube funnels this stuff into their algorithm. I've done this test before, so I know that. So these guys manipulate the algorithm. That's why Ryan Kinel and all these guys make like 3 to 4 videos a day about Starfleet Academy. So their channels get locked into whatever that algorithm is and they get promoted for it. And then we have to deal with it. We're the ones that have to deal with this shit after the fact.
Streaming service, barely able to even crack into the top 10 when they release a new episode for one day before it falls into nothingness again. Star Trek Starfleet Academy releases episode 4. And let's just say it doesn't get any better. If you had criticism for the show, for the ridiculous writing, for the ridiculous language that's being used, a show that doesn't feel or sound like Star Trek at all.
I disagree. I think it feels and sounds a lot like Star Trek. Now what? Now where are we? What are we doing here? These kinds of arguments, using this as evidence to back up your claim, doesn't hold up. If you were actually having a legitimate debate with somebody, and that's why these guys would never do this. If you're having a legitimate debate with somebody, I would tell them to provide me with some sources or some evidence that back up their claims of everything that they are saying. But Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers has said this before. The audience that watches these guys don't give a fuck about that. They don't care. They're all right with being brain dead. They're okay with these brain dead takes. Doesn't matter to them. But for me, if you're going to come up and you're going to tell me that something is floundering, that it's flopping, that it's awful, you have to give me some sort of like substantial material evidence of that. Vibe checks they don't work for me. I don't do vibe check armchair criticism about stuff. Like if you're talking about something objective, which is what he's saying here, that it doesn't feel like Star Trek to him, then you have to give me something. You have to provide me with something. But these guys make too many videos. They would just be repeating themselves over and over and over again if they did that. This is the worst kind of content you could possibly watch on YouTube.
And of course, all the characters seem to just be diversity checkboxes, probably because they're written by diversity checkboxes.
And you have no proof of seems to. Seems to is not definitive. Like that person across the street from me seems to like gardening because I've seen them out in their yard once or twice before. Does that mean they love gardening? No. Do I know for sure? No. But it seems like they do. It seems like that. It also seems like you guys are bigots, right? Because you make several videos about it. I can just turn the argument around on you. It seems like y'all are bigots.
Everyone seems fat or gay or mentally handicapped in some way.
But again, even if people were gay or overweight or whatever the issue they have with it, what fucking difference does that make? It doesn't change or affect the quality of the show. Are you going to talk about the writing? Like if you have an issue with the writing, then talk about that. What about the writing is bad? Just saying that gay people or overweight people, fat people are in the show doesn't mean that it's going, like these kinds of arguments again have no substance to them whatsoever.
Well, we get to an episode that's all about revealing that our likely gay Klingon, played by a gay man.
By the way, the actor who plays Jaden has never officially come out as gay. Never officially came out as gay. So all of this is based on them just stereotypically classifying people. Could he be gay? Yes. Could he be bi? Could he be pan? Could he be gender non-conforming? There's a lot of things he could be. Could Ryan Kinel be gay? Sure. Is he likely gay? Maybe. I don't know. These are the kinds of arguments they have. Maybes, possiblies, likelies. Like it's all dumb.
Had a polyamorous family with two dads and one mom. Mm-hmm. In Starfleet Academy, Jaden is from a polyamorous Klingon family where both his fathers abandoned him. And considering they have, changed a lot of Klingon.
I commented on this nerdrotic tweet that it's just, they always find the most racist thing they can do. Like, it's almost as if they just sit around and have a catalog of racist jokes just waiting to go at any given time.
Wants to just be black-coded. I wonder what you're trying to tell us, Hollywood. I wonder what you're trying to tell us, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. And this is not just a hyperbolic tweet from Nerdrotic.
It is.
This is real. And you can tell.
No, it is hyperbolic because he points out the thing that he wants to bring up about race. Like that's the reason it's hyperbolic. You don't understand what hyperbolic means if you think that he was just telling us information. Not only did his two dads abandon him, but his mother abandoned him as well. But he left that out specifically. That definitively makes what he says hyperbolic because he's trying to create some sort of outrage.
Because the likely people over at Polygon are celebrating this. Why?
This is the only article I've seen about this, and it's a very short article, and they keep using it. He's not the only one. We had the Jester Bell video yesterday where we talked about this. The same fucking article.
Starfleet Academy turned Klingons into polyamorous refugees. The show's latest episode redefines what it means to be a Klingon warrior. That's what this show is. You like how in so many of these franchises, they want to change what longtime fans have come to know for decades and
or add something to it. I mean, that's kind of what's happening here. It's like they're taking a section of Klingons that we may not have known of and said, like, hey, these Klingons existed in this future. So they're adding on to it. This isn't a retcon. It's not changing the entire Klingon community. It's not making it seem like all Klingons are like this. This is hyperbole. This is sensationalism. What you guys are doing is exactly what you said that Nerdrotic wasn't doing. You're getting upset about something that is an addition to, it is adding on to the lore of Klingons. It's not changing anything. It's adding something to it. We're learning something new about Klingons as these stories progress. But I'm going to continue to let you rant here.
Decades and decades about things. Klingons being one of them. Hey, we're going to show you a different side of Klingons.
Right.
It could be something interesting that they showed us, but instead it's, oh, by the way, he's got 2 dads and 1 mom, and they're all fucking each other or whatever in some...
There's never... What show are we watching where people are fucking each other in Star Trek? What show is that? To be quite honest, there were more sexually incited episodes of Star Trek back in the day than there are now. Like, we haven't really seen anything like that in the episode. Here he is again. And Ryan Kinel is one of those people who he did this with the last episode, where he just creates sexual fantasies in his mind. It's really interesting. I have been on YouTube. I'm going to take a sidestep from this for a while. I've been on YouTube since 2007 in some capacity with different channels. I've been running different channels for YouTube since 2007. In the amount of time that I was on YouTube from 2007 all the way until around 2018, 2019, when I started diving into like pushing back on these guys, when I talked about movies and TV shows where there was nothing sexually explicit shown on screen, I never talked about sexually explicit stuff. I managed to do that with all of my TV and movie reviews over the years, without creating some scenario about people having sex if we don't see it on screen or it's not implied on screen. In this episode, there was no implications of them hooking up in any of the scenes that we saw them in. All we know is they were together in some sort of a 3-way polyamorous relationship. We don't know if the 2 dads had any sort of sexual connection. We don't know if they were just sharing a wife. We don't know if she was the one having the 2 of them. Like, we don't know the dynamic of that. We're not sure, because it was an unnecessary step. Like, they didn't have any reason to tell us that. They're just like, look, this type of relationship, it exists with Klingons, and this is what it is. You're creating this fantasy of what they're doing in the bedroom in your mind. It's your own fantasy.
Polyamorous relationship. And if you don't think that this is like intentionally supposed to get you used to this or make you see this, or like it was just a random decision. No. The writers, the creators, they go into detail about this stuff.
We've already seen this,
There's
but I'll let
a
him
lot of
finish it
folks
here.
in the world right now, and there always have been, who have 3 parents. And for the record, they're not talking about people who have stepmoms or stepdads.
You don't know. See, what you're doing now is you're rewriting what they said. You don't know what they're talking about here. They are specific. What they're saying is in black and white right in front of us. If they wanted us to be specific about it, they would have been specific in their statement. So you are creating an excuse. This is what you're doing. You're creating an excuse to make this about whatever you want to make it. So it's a narrative. This is a narrative. He's driving a narrative here. We'll let him do that. But just know that this is him painting a picture for you. I know, because sometimes I paint pictures for people too. This is him painting a picture.
Because of divorce, they're talking about 3 parents living in one single household. These degenerate fucks.
Right. So you see how angry he got there? Degenerate fucks. Let's rewind this and watch him crash out on that. First of all, you are creating a standard here to get mad at. And now you're mad because you think there's some sort of degeneracy here. Spoiler alert, we see all kinds of really atypical, non-earthbound types of relationships in sci-fi. We see it all the time. We see stuff in Avatar movies, things like that we don't typically see here. But here he's making it seem like there's some sort of issue with it because he has a problem with anybody in a relationship that is not exclusively heterosexual or heteronormative relationships. If they're not in heteronormative relationships, he has an issue with it.
The record, they're not talking about people who have stepmoms or stepdads because of divorce. They're talking about 3 parents living in one single household. These degenerate fucks. That's what's going on. What a shocker that their son ended up gay. Who could have possibly imagined that?
Right, because no gay people come from households with heterosexual, typical marriages. It's impossible for gay people to come there. So and of course, to your brain, you're like, well, he has to be gay because he came from a polyamorous family. So that makes him gay, even though we don't know if he's gay in the show. We don't know that. And even if he was, the fucking small pigeon-sized brain in Ryan's head is like, well, that must have made him gay, even though we know that gay people existed in households where they had a mom and a dad. Most of the people from my generation who are gay existed in those types of households. So I don't even know what the fuck he means here. What kind of pigeon brain shit is this? Low IQ nonsense.
But maybe even more embarrassing, how you know that they realize they fucked up so terribly. You know that episode that they released for free on YouTube that was an
I completely forgot that's what this is about. He went off on such a tangent, I forgot that's what this is about. Okay, we're finally to this now. All right, so he's talking about the free episode that was released as a promo on Paramount Plus. We're getting into the actual point of the video. Here we go.
Imagine that. But maybe even more embarrassing, how you know that they realize they fucked up so terribly. You know that episode that they released for free on YouTube that was an absolute embarrassment, that got ratioed to hell, that got destroyed? The comment section was utterly obliterated, could barely crack over what was around 200,000 views on a multi-million sub YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's funny now that you mentioned the amount of views it had before the video was removed or unlisted, considering that it quite frankly destroyed the views on that nerdrotic stream that you guys were jerking off. Remember that nerdrotic stream? They're like, oh, he had a picture of, or a toy of Spock in the chair, and it got 1,000 more viewers than it did on Starfleet Academy. Yeah, and then that video ended up getting ignored after that, and then the Starfleet Academy video ended up getting 200 and some thousand views on it. But now that's the issue. Now you're like, oh, that's, the metric is changed now. The metric is different. Now, here's the new goalpost we're going to introduce.
When it was out there for weeks, well, Paramount very quietly.
I also want to point out that people don't go to YouTube to watch these episodes. They go to Paramount Plus to watch the episodes. Why would they go to YouTube and watch it if they have Paramount Plus? They put the episode up on YouTube to advertise it to people who don't have Paramount Plus. So the vast majority of people that would come to that would watch it and then go, maybe I'm going to subscribe to Paramount Plus. Maybe I won't. Whatever, but the whole point of putting the episode up was for advertising. It wasn't the primary place that people were going to watch Starfleet Academy.
Has decided, yeah, maybe we should take that down.
Oh.
Maybe we've had enough embarrassment. Maybe we've been trashed enough. Maybe we should take that down.
Right, and what is your proof of this? What is your proof that they removed it for that reason? Let's take a look at the Paramount Plus page now and see if they removed all their Starfleet Academy stuff, because that would be the only logical conclusion, is that if they pulled the episode down off of YouTube, that they would remove all of the Starfleet Academy stuff and they wouldn't be advertising it anymore because it's a done deal, right? It's over. Party's over. We got to remove it all. So let's take a look at the Paramount Plus page and see if they still have Starfleet Academy stuff up, or did they just remove all of it? All right, so here we are on the Paramount Plus page on YouTube, on their official page. And the very first video I see from 11 hours ago is a Starfleet Academy clip. That's really interesting, because if they were so worried about the backlash, they would just stop promoting it, right? Oh, look, it's another Starfleet Academy video. Meet the Cadets. They have more oh yeah, there's another Starfleet Academy. Is there more? Oh yeah, there's another one here. Yeah, there's another one. Oh, wow, there's another one there. Welcome aboard, episode 1. So it's a promo for the episode that you guys were upset that they removed, because you say that proves that they've completely lost faith in this. But here, they still have the preview promo clip up from that same episode. Oh, look, more Starfleet Academy stuff. So that's really weird that they would remove just this one episode and not all of the other promotional material they have on their page. It's almost like they uploaded this specifically because they were trying to promote it. And then once the promotional cycle for the first episode ended, which was probably a 4-episode thing, a 4-week thing, and they just ended it, that means they must have removed it because people don't like it. But for some reason, they're still uploading clips and they're still promoting it for upcoming episodes of Starfleet Academy. That's weird. What else do you have to say?
Paramount quietly pulls Star Trek Starfleet Academy YouTube premiere after disastrous reception. Paramount has quietly removed the free YouTube premiere of Starfleet Academy, a move that is already raising eyebrows among fans and critics alike. The decision to private the video without warning, announcement, or expiration notice has fueled speculation the studios attempted to bury visible evidence of the show's poor reception.
But we just saw they didn't do that because they still have all of the other material available, just not the full episode that they were using to promote the show for free on YouTube. And I promise you guys, it's going to get really good. You don't want to tune out now. I'm going to make him look very, very stupid, even more stupid than he actually is in a moment. I promise you. Stick with me.
This is first noticed by YouTuber Price of Reason. So shout out Price of Reason for seeing that they had pulled it. He was probably going to go check the likes or dislikes and realize, oh shit, this is completely and totally gone. There was also another level
loser
of embarrassment when if you just...
Such loser behavior. Let me go check the dislikes, even though we know for a fact. By the way, I want to reiterate this. The like-dislike counter that you can add on to your Chrome now is not accurate. It hasn't been accurate since 2021. There's plenty of articles about this. YouTube does not share the API data for dislikes anymore. It is all done by some weird algorithm that is not accurate. We know this. We've seen videos where people have compared and shown that the likes that the dislike counter on Chrome shows versus the actual ones inside their dashboard are different. We know it's not real. This is all performative.
Star Trek Starfleet Academy, you had to scroll down like 20 things. You saw about 20 videos shitting all over it before you finally got to their free episode. Maybe they weren't...
Yeah, because YouTube promotes in the algorithm garbage content like this. That's why. It's not their fault. It's YouTube's fault.
Too happy with that either. The YouTube premiere was a public record of failure.
Oh, yeah,
the Starfleet
sure.
Academy premiere became a visible problem for the studio. Mm-hmm. Despite being free, that episode failed to gain meaningful traction, posting a low view count and drawing heavily negative engagement rate.
Okay, so first of all, see, he's showing that the fake dislike thing or whatever. Let's take a look over here. I did a little digging on this. And we're going to take a look here. So Star Trek did the same thing, or Paramount Plus did the same thing with Strange New Worlds, right? This is from 3 years ago. I procrastinated finishing season 1, and now it's no longer available on YouTube. I'm kind of sad and mad at myself because I've been busy the last couple of weeks, so I put off watching episodes on YouTube. I don't have Paramount, and I recently started watching the first season on YouTube. They posted it. I got to episode 7 or 8. I don't remember, and then life happened, and I took a few weeks off. I was off tonight and decided I would watch a couple episodes before going to bed because I work in the morning, and I can't find it on YouTube anywhere. So I sent a message where I shared it to a friend of mine, clicked the link, and he says the playlist is no longer available. Now I can't even finish the first season. I hope I get the financial play soon so I can actually order Paramount and continue watching. Sad rant over, it's all my fault, but it is what it is. That's right. At one point, Paramount Plus had all of the episodes of Strange New Worlds up in promotion for the upcoming season. They kept them up for a little while, and then they removed them because this is something they do. Take a look over here. Okie dokie, Fallout Season 1 is now free on YouTube, but it's going back in the vault very soon. Now, this was from January of this year, 2026. And it says here, the first season of Fallout is currently being rolled out for free on YouTube. From January 28th, all 8 episodes of the Prime Video series are being streamed at no cost on the Prime Video YouTube channel. Each day, 2 episodes will be released at 5 and 6, respectively, until the finale on January 31st. The perfect way to catch up if you're still behind on Fallout Season 2 and don't currently have a Prime membership. But you'll have to hurry. All episodes are set to expire midnight Pacific on February 11th. This follows a similar limited time offer that allowed Samsung Smart TV users to binge all of Fallout Season 1 in December. It's certainly a better proposition than the now removed Fallout Season 1 AI recap. So here's another example of a promotional situation where episodes were released and then they were removed. And here we go. Let's take a look at another one here. So let me share this tab instead. Disney Plus TV show, hit Disney Plus TV show is uploaded to YouTube for free, and it's totally legal to watch as fans rave. Thanks for the tip. It says here, you can find all episodes. This is Andor. You can find them on the official Disney Plus channel on YouTube, and they should appear on both the UK and USA. And if you look over here now, let's go ahead and we'll share this here. If you look, it is available on Disney Plus Portugal for Andor Season 1. You can also see that it is available on Star Wars UK. So these 2 channels do have them. However, if you look on the official Disney Plus channel, the main one, they're no longer there. I typed in Andor here in the search, and you see a bunch of stuff from Andor, but the episodes are no longer there. You know why? Because at a certain point, the promotional cycle expired. And it's the same if you look over here on the Star Wars channel, the official Star Wars channel. If you type in Andor on the official one, only one thing pops up. However, it's available on some of the other channels on YouTube because there's different promotional cycles for those as well. And here we go. It's another one. Paramount Plus. Watch the first 3 episodes of Tom Hardy's Mobland for free on YouTube. So yes, at a certain point, there were 3 free episodes of Mobland on the Paramount Plus page on YouTube. However, if you go over here and look now on the Paramount Plus page and you type in Mobland, you will see there's a bunch of Mobland content over here on Paramount Plus, but you know what's not on here? The first 3 episodes that they released for free. Matter of fact, if you go down here now to the episodes, like season 1, episode 10, and you click this because you see the full runtime here, you click try now, it pops up and says, hey, would you like to watch? So watch this on Paramount Plus on YouTube, 7-day free trial where they're advertising you to try it for free. So to come back over here to Ryan's video, there are lots of examples of these networks putting things up and then removing them or putting them behind a paywall or the licensing for them change depending on which channel you're on. So my point here is that all of this speculation doesn't add up to any sort of substantial proof of evidence that this is why they removed it. The like to dislike counter is not accurate, so that doesn't matter. And they know for a fact that most people don't have access to the dislike button because they're not crazed anti-fans that have to shit on everything. So those people are not looking to see how many dislikes the videos have. They know this, so they're not concerned about that. They don't care about negative comments because if you go and you look on other videos about Star Trek, you will find a mix of positive and negative comments. So none of this is what I would call any sort of substantial evidence that what they're saying is true. Let's see what else he has to add to this, because maybe possibly he has something a bit more to add other than an article from his own website, geeksandgamers.com.
And this is a screenshot from, I think, January 24th. Now, this says 27,000 dislikes, 8,000 likes. We do have a little bit newer one. The last I saw was actually a video from Yellow Flash that he put out. Shout out Yellow Flash. And I saw it at 31,000 dislikes to 8.7 thousand likes.
Which, by the way, no casual viewer of that video would ever see that. They would never see that. Which is why this argument that that's why they removed it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The average person doesn't have the dislike counter button installed on their Chrome browser. You can't prove to me that people have all installed this fucking dislike button. It's just, most people watch YouTube on their phones through the app, through the YouTube app, which doesn't even let you use that.
And as far as I know, that's where it ended. And almost the entire comment section is just shitting all over them. It is quite embarrassing. It was quite embarrassing. And now...
And they could have just turned comments off. They could have just made comments invisible. If they made comments invisible and most people don't see the dislike button, then it doesn't matter. Like what you're saying is that they took the most extreme step. You're like, oh, well, they had a cut on their arm and they could have bled out from the cut on their arm, so they just cut their whole arm off instead of putting a Band-Aid on it. They just take the most logical thing for them is the most extreme step possible.
Very quietly, without warning. Look, sometimes this happens. Sometimes they don't leave it up forever.
Right.
Usually they have, hey, for 2 weeks it's going to be available. Hey, for 1 week it's going to be available. Hey,
not always. I just proved to you guys that's not always the case. Sometimes they just disappear after a while. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't.
On January 17th, we're pulling the episode. Make sure you watch it while you can. But now, of course, it is privated. It is gone.
Right. So you waited like a good, almost 70% into your video before you said, well, it's possible they could have just removed it because it was out of its promo cycle. Because, so what this tells me is, we're just going to stop here because what this tells me is he absolutely knew better, but he made this video anyway. So this is what I'm saying. Like, these guys play to the outrage. Ryan Kinel already knew that there's a possibility that they removed this because it was in a promo cycle. And he's like, oh, they could have removed it. It was in a promo cycle, but usually they tell us or whatever. So the most logical answer to this is that the promo cycle ended, so the video is now no longer available for free. That's the most logical answer. But you went through all of the hoops you could possibly go through and came up with all of the fantasies you could possibly come up with for this video to make it look like they removed it because of a massive campaign of downvotes on a button that most people don't see in a comment section they could have just made private. They could have just cut comments off. But we're going to go with the most extreme thing is they removed it. They removed this one video, even though if you go to the Paramount Plus page right now, you see they still got a ton of stuff up about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. They're still promoting it right now. Like there was a video uploaded just today to promote the show. But They removed this one video because we believe, without any real evidence other than just whatever we say, that it was the worst thing they possibly put out, and that's why they removed it. I don't know what to tell you guys. If this is the kind of content that you consume, if you clicked on my video and you're like, I watch Ryan, I think he's a great content creator. If this is the kind of stuff you consume and you think this adds any value to your life, I don't know what to tell you. Seek therapy, I guess. These guys are all liars, man. They're all fucking liars. They just lie. And I click on a video, like I clicked on the Jester Bell video yesterday, and it was just lies. I click on Ryan's video today. It's just lies. If you're going to make this kind of content and you want us to believe you and take you at your word, then your word has to actually mean something. When you make these kinds of videos and you leave out stuff, or you use smoke and mirrors, and you consciously decide that I'm not going to say the most obvious thing first before I get to all the hyperbolic stuff, it just makes you a liar, man. This is bad shit. Like stop looking at this content and expecting any truth from these guys. It's just not true anymore. It's just nonsense, bullshit, outrage, culture, farming stuff, culture war stuff, where none of it's real.